Welcome one and all to the PSDovito podcast. This is our third time out. I am PSDovito and this is Robert Rage.
Hello, Bert.
Hello Rage, how are ya?
Mate, I'm all good.
Cool. Well, this time out we're a bit undecided about the subject. We've decided either movies or religion. So basically I think we're going to go with movies for now, as religion is quite a touchy subject. So, movies. Dan, what movies have you seen recently?
I've watched quite a few, to be honest, Bert. I watched Mad Max Fury Road the other day, and that is probably one of the better action films I've seen in a while. Balls to the wall action all the way through. Yeah, good acting, great special effects, like practical special effects. There was a few bits of CGI, like with the bigger scale things that was going on, but most of it was practical special effects, and that's the kind of action films I enjoy.
Yeah, I can understand why they use a lot of CGI for things like explosions and all that. When you think about it, it's better for the environment, that kind of stuff, rather than having actual petrol and stuff blowing up everywhere. You know, there is that kind of thing, and it's a lot easier to clean up. That kind of stuff,
yeah.
But
yeah, fuck it, it was pretty much knackered anyway, so might as well have a decent film with real special effects going on.
The world's fucked anyway, we might as well make films and fuck it up even more. Fuck it. Make a film about a fucking nuclear explosion. Don't worry about it, the world's fucked anyway. But
I've watched a few others, but The Babadook, which was recommended by you, and a great recommendation, an absolutely amazing possession film. One of the better ones I've seen. Well, I don't watch many because there is so many of them, but the acting from the mother and son was absolutely brilliant, and yeah, one of the better films I've seen, one of the better horror films I've seen in a while.
yeah, I did like Babadook. I was a little bit I can't remember what it was now. This is my problem. I watch so many films, I forget what's happened in half of them. But I think there was something about the ending of Babadook that I wasn't overly sold on. I can't honestly remember what it was now. It was good, very good. I thought the acting, like you say, from the mum and the kid was good. And as far as possession films go, because I will sit on Netflix while I'm doing other stuff, and I'll have Netflix on in the background just playing untold films, and I've seen probably every possession film there is on Netflix, and a lot of them are just the same. A lot of them, once you've seen one, you've seen them all pretty much. Like either someone moves into an apartment or a house somewhere. Yeah, you got your different styles of possession films, ain't you? But they're all the same thing. But Babadook was a little different and was quite good. But yeah, definitely, I'd recommend people watch it. And it's Australian as well, and Australians do horror movies quite well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think, spoiler alert, people, like we'll put a thing on the screen to skip forward to, but is it where the Babadook becomes obedient at the end? Is that what you was talking about?
I can't honestly remember, mate. This is my problem. I watched so many films. There were, like I say, once you've seen one, you've seen them all. It might have been, I think the Babadook gave up too easy or something like that. It was like, well, I can't 100% remember now, but I'm pretty sure it had something to do with it being too easy to win. Or it's just... But... Yeah, it was a bit... But it was good. For general film, it was good. And I've watched a lot of them possession films on Netflix. Well, probably all of them. It's like Insidious was alright. Again, just same sort of thing as anything else. I watched An American Haunting. Wasn't too bad. What's that one called? The Quiet Ones. That was a Hammer horror. And it was alright. It was, again, pretty much just your average possession film, but it was a little bit different to your standard ones, you know. I think Wreck is probably the last best possession film I've seen. The first two Wrecks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're fantastic films, mate. And with Insidious as well. The first time I watched that film, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good film. And then when I watched it the second time, it was good, but not as good as the first time. It lost that quality, you know, whereas like films like Forrest Gump, The Godfather, they never lose that quality. They are brilliant, no matter how many times you watch them.
Yeah.
But that Insidious, for me, it lost its edge a little bit the second time around.
Yeah, you will get that with a lot of horror movies. Realistically, once you know what's going to happen, it loses that fear factor, that, you know, and that suspense element that it's got to it.
Yeah.
And there are slasher films like Nightmare on Elm Street. They're ones I can watch. Well, I say that I can watch them over and over again, but where the genre's been done to death, I mean, I've watched a lot of those kind of things as well. And once you've seen one, you've seen them all, more or less. But you'll never beat Nightmare on Elm Street. You'll never beat the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, it's all been done. It's all been done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you'll never beat those two horror films, mate. They are two of the greatest of all time. A Nightmare on Elm Street for not just the storyline, but the character. You bastard.
There's one on Netflix. I can't remember what it's called now. It's like Final Showing or something, but it's Robert Englund, and he runs a cinema or something. He's like the main guy at the cinema, and it's a horror movie. He was alright in that, good in that, but it wasn't a great film, but it was alright. And it's, if you like Robert Englund, it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact name of it now. It was like Final Showing or the last view or so, I don't know. It's basically about it was the last film at night in the cinema. But I won't say too much, don't want to spoil it for people. But yeah, so I just think a lot of films, like, it's difficult now. Like I say, you watch one possession film, you've seen them all. Watch the slasher film, you've seen them all. And it does take something different. We watched Clown. Have you heard? I think it's called Clown. It's basically a geezer puts on a clown suit, and then the clown suit possesses him. He's another possession film, but it's done differently, and it's, you know, he's quite good. When you look at it, you go, yeah, that's going to be really stupid. A film about a geezer getting possessed by a clown, but there's more to it than that, you know. And that was actually pretty good, that clown film, you know. And that kind of combined the possession slasher sort of genres together.
Yeah, and I ain't seen that one yet, mate.
But yeah, I'd recommend giving that a watch. And like, I'll sit here with Russ and we'll watch other films like that aren't on Netflix, like That Clown, for example. But we go through some like bad films. We sit there and go, I give that a watch, and it's just like, oh, that is terrible. And it's like, what? That was a waste of time. I think the worst one that I've watched in recent years, right, and it should, on paper, be the ultimate movie for me. It's got Roddy Piper in it as the main guy. It's got other wrestlers in it: Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Shane Douglas, TNA champion Matt Hardy, or ex-champion, whatever. Go back to our last podcast to hear about that. It's got other wrestlers in it, and it's a zombie film. It's wrestlers versus zombies. But it was one of the biggest piece of dog shit films I've ever seen in my fucking life, and not even Roddy Piper could really save it. But that was definitely one of the worst films I've seen in a fucking long time. There was one scene in it between Hacksaw and Roddy, and that's the only bit. Like, if I was going to recommend watching any 10-30 seconds out of that film, it'd be that one little bit. But the rest of it, fucking hell, Shane Douglas was absolute dog shit in it. Matt Hardy's Matt Hardy. He's gonna he's as good at that as he is at anything else. He done his bit, fucking jumps off a something and leg drops someone or something, you know what I mean? Done his spots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the zombie genre has been fucking mullered, hasn't it? Absolutely mullered.
Yeah.
It's like,
Absolutely, mate.
I've seen quite a few zombie films now that I'm like, oh, yeah, that was just shit. There was one, Gangsters versus Zombies. It's got Bricktop from Snatch in it. It's got Michelle Ryan, who was Zoe in EastEnders. It's got a few others in it. That was alright. That was kind of a bit like a Shaun of the Dead type zombie film, you know. It had the comedy element to it.
Yeah.
And that was alright. I'm not saying.
I don't think I've seen a zombie film as good as that. And I know that was a comedy, but I haven't seen one as good as Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, it depends what you're going for, innit? But yeah, in that respect, in terms of a serious zombie film, though, you know, there's all zombie films have got a comedy element to them, more or less. Unless you go all the way back, you know, where they're a bit darker, a little bit more serious, but they all end up with a comedy element to them in places. But then a lot of horror films, like slasher films, have that comedy element to them. It's part of the horror genre, isn't it, to have the comedy in there.
Yeah. Zombie Flesh Eaters is one of the greatest zombie films I've ever watched.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. It's I like what is it? I always get them. Return of the Living Dead. They're very, very comical, like very comedy orientated. But I like the way they're done, and I like the endings on them. It's like, you can't argue with the endings on those films. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, a lot of people will have seen them, a lot of people won't. It's bit. I don't really want to give spoilers away, but the endings to those films, you go, yeah, well, that's how it ends. You might not necessarily think it was a great ending, but like in terms of, you know, your characters and the story, it's like, but it's realistic ending, you know. But I think they're good. But they go, the first one's all out comedy, second one's sort of medium comedy, and the third one tries to get a bit more serious with it. Whereas if you compare that to Evil Dead, it started out pretty serious with very dark comedy. Second one, a little bit more comedy in it. Third one was pretty much out and out comedy. You know, it's kind of the reverse order to that.
Yeah, but still three of the greatest zombie/possession films ever.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll never beat the Evil Dead. The remake of Evil Dead was pretty good. Again, was it necessary? Not so much, but it was alright. It wasn't one of them bad remakes, you know. It's like Texas Chainsaw. What's her name? I think Alexandria Daddario or something is the main bird in it. It's the one where she's relative to Leatherface.
Yeah.
That was not bad, but again, it was made by the original people. It had the original Leatherface in it, so it was bound to be alright. But there was still parts about it, I mean, where they sort of tried to turn Leatherface's face, like turn him good. You know, I was like, well, are you supposed to feel sorry for Leatherface? You know, are you supposed to be cheering him? You know, it's that, there was that to it, and then there was other bits about the family. You know, like you watch the original Chainsaw Massacre film, you got Leatherface, the granddad, the chef, and the mad hitchhiker. I think the grandma's upstairs. But then you come to this Texas Chainsaw film, and there's a fucking whole house full of them. And it's like, well, where did they all fucking come from? Do you know what I mean? It's like there were things about that Texas Chainsaw that I weren't overly sold on, didn't think was great, but it was one of the better remakes. But that Evil Dead, I think, is probably the best remake of a horror film that I've seen recently. You know, you could go back and go, yeah, there's The Fly from the 1950s, and it was remade in the 80s, and it was fucking awesome. You know, but that's different. That's a massive gap. You know,
a remake. That's a good example of when a remake should be remade, but it should be when all the cast have passed away, and if anybody to do with that film has passed away, and then it's just a case of paying respect. But if it's done badly, then it's like, well, you're not paying respect to the film. You know, it needs to be, particular films need to be done right. And there's so many bad remakes that are just terrible, like A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Thing, both terrible fucking remakes or sequels, whatever the fuck you want to call them, but both terrible. Two of the worst I've watched.
but honestly, if you sitting in that chair represented that Nightmare on Elm Street and Thing movie, do you know what I would do? Shit on ya.
Thanks for that, mate. I appreciate that. I would quite happily be shit on if I represented both of them films.
Definitely. That Nightmare on Elm Street honestly is one of the biggest pieces of stinking, scummy horse shit I've ever seen in my life. It was absolutely fucking awful. It raped Freddy Krueger. Absolutely, like, Freddy Krueger was a child murderer, yeah, and he done other shit to kids, right, and he was fucking, he had a brilliant character. The remake, they made him a kiddie fiddler who didn't do much more than scratch the kids' bellies with his knives. Yeah? Right, which, yeah, fair enough, kiddie fiddlers need to be burnt in their houses as well. But they took away a massive part of what Freddy Krueger was. He was a child murderer, not a kiddie fiddler. You know? There was a difference.
Not only that though, but the character wasn't portrayed the right way.
No.
Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, in The Nightmare on Elm Street, has so much charisma. He's dark, he's funny. You know, he's got so much about him. And in the remake, it was just like, well, that's not Freddy Krueger.
No.
That you're mumbling and you're dark and you talk like this, like you've got a sore throat or something. It's fuck off. That's not Freddy Krueger, is it?
No. And he had his bandaged up face, so he was like a mummy or something. And they basically took all the good bits from the old Nightmare on Elm Street films and went, right, we'll put them in there and we'll make them shit. Like, I remember watching the original Nightmare on Elm Street film, and that bird laying on the bed, Freddy's claw comes up, yams her in the furry hamster thing, wallop, bam, drags her up and round the wall. You know? And I didn't sleep in my bed for fucking 2 weeks when I was 7 years old after seeing that. Yeah? But it was brutal. In this one, they'd done it and it was just complete shit. It was CGI shit. There was another bit in it where Freddy stabbed the dude and there was just like an excessive amount of shit CGI blood. And it was just like, the entire film needs to be erased from history. It needs to be shunned and just forgotten about, because that essentially raped and murdered Freddy Krueger. Freddy's supposed to be immortal. You can't kill Freddy Krueger. Well, that film had a fucking good go of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why it couldn't have been Robert Englund. It's not like it's not a physically demanding role. It's him standing there doing his stuff and then just fill the rest in with other actors. Do you know what I mean? You could have cast Robert Englund in that new film, but to that extent, whether he said yes or no, or whether he was even asked, I don't know. But you know, for me, if I was Robert Englund, I probably would have said no anyway, because it's done, sort of thing.
So the thing is though, Robert Englund, in his mind, he's like, well, I've done it, the series is done. You know, they've done the first 6 films, and then they killed the first 6 films by doing New Nightmare and telling everyone, oh no, they're just films. Like, obviously we know that, we ain't fucking idiots, but like watching the actual films, when you watch New Nightmare, it's like, well, they've just discredited the first 6 films kind of thing, you know? It's like, it takes away from the story of the older ones. But it put a lid on it. That was the end of Nightmare on Elm Street. New Nightmare. And, you know, Robert Englund probably thought, well, what more is there for Freddy to do? You know? They done the bit where they revealed his daughter came out and had a pop at him and all that, you know? They've done the Freddy Krueger story. He's spent his whole life as Freddy Krueger and trying to do other roles that are not Freddy Krueger, you know. He wants to be remembered for slightly more than just that, but
yeah.
And again,
do you know what else? Do you know what else, Bert? Though I'm glad that remake was so shit. I'm glad it was shit, because that destroyed any chance of a sequel or another remake, because it was so fucking shit. Yeah, they won't be doing that anytime soon. There was plans to do another film after that one, but when that one bombed, they went, oh, well, that ain't happening now. You know? It's... That hands down has got to be one of the biggest and worst remakes that I've seen in my life. You know, I thought the Italian Job remake
was one of the absolute biggest piece of dog shit remakes I've ever seen. Even Charlize Theron and Edward Norton couldn't save that. Was it Edward Norton in that? I forget now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Even
and it was absolutely terrible.
it was an advert for the BMW Mini. Is what it was.
Yeah.
That was just a big advert. But they killed it. Jason Statham. He's alright in what he does, but even he can, you know, him, Charlize Theron, Edward Norton, the other good actors that were in it, they couldn't save it. The story was terrible. The ending was terrible. It was... That's when remakes are done literally just to make money. And like I say, that Italian Job was an advert for the new BMW Mini when BMW brought Mini out.
But that should have been done by someone like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
If it was going to be done by somebody, it should have been Guy Ritchie, because that guy done Lock, Stock, Snatch, both very good British films, and it would have done the remake justice. Like he would have done it justice if he got the role to do that.
Yeah. 100%. He would have been so much better. But yeah, no, that is another example of a very, very bad remake, and a remake that's just done to make money. And like I say, that's what I think that Nightmare on Elm Street was. The Thing, the remake of The Thing, what's an absolutely terrible movie that was, that remake. That was another one that had a load of CGI wank in it, you know, and just looked terrible. The story was shit. It was just everything. They took any good bits they could from the original and fucked them up, you know. It's just, there's certain films that you don't touch, you know. I can understand Nightmare on Elm Street, right, if they was to remake it properly with someone that could portray Freddy the right way. I can understand it, because if you go back to the original Nightmare on Elm Street and you look at production values, special effects, things like that could be improved and could be better. You know, like when Freddy gets thrown over the balcony and you see the mattress that he lands on, you know, little things like that. You're not supposed to see that mattress. That's for the stuntman, you know. But they're little things. Little things. But you don't need to touch the original Nightmare on Elm Street. You don't touch The Thing. You know, you can't beat the original Chainsaw Massacre, no matter how many times they remake it. And they've done probably 10 at least different Chainsaw Massacres, you know.
Yeah.
But you can't beat the original.
No, because it's got a certain... It's raw, it's gritty, it's low budget, you know, it's... I don't know, those probably on a particular time scale, so it's like... It just... You can, like, obviously, and with the remakes, or sequels, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they've got a higher production value, so, and they've got more time, and you know, but you never beat the original Chainsaw Massacre, man, ever. That is one of the greatest horror films ever made, without a doubt.
Easy. I mean, like you were saying about Freddy Krueger being the most iconic horror character, and to me, yeah, he's my personal favourite. He's, you know, I've been into Freddy Krueger since I was 7 years old. Like, admittedly, for the first few years he scared the shit out of me, but I've always been massively into Nightmare on Elm Street, you know.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, I think Jason Voorhees is probably the most iconic horror movie character. It's that hockey mask and the machete. That...
Did I say iconic? Is that the word I used?
Maybe. That was a little while ago now.
He is. Freddy is. And so is Jason. So is Michael Myers. But, and as great as they are, I love Friday the 13th. That's another one of my favourite horror films of all time. But it's kind of boring to some extent, even though it's still one of my favourites. But the character is just a big dude in a hockey mask with a machete. It's like there's nothing really to... I suppose that's the scary part of it, because he doesn't talk.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just a case of, when you look at it, it's that big dude in a mask with a machete, or with the weapon, that is done over and over and over and over in the slasher films. Freddy's not done over and over and over and over. Freddy is Freddy, and there's not many other Freddy Krueger horror characters, but there are a fuckload of Jason Voorhees. Even Chainsaw Massacre, you know, it's a big dude in a mask with a tool, you know. It's Leatherface, probably one of the most iconic. Him, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, yeah, but the Chainsaw Massacre, like the Leatherface and the Jason Voorhees, are so easily copied and altered for a different film, you know. And there is a lot of them out there.
Yeah. But even though, like, Leatherface had a mask on, there was still emotion there.
Yeah, of course it was.
With the different noises he made and the body language.
Yeah.
You know, such a great performance by someone in a mask. Someone, like, you can't see his face, but the noises and the body language was amazing.
Yeah, but then it goes back to what you're saying about Jason. Is the fact that he is an emotionless monster is what makes him scary. It's Freddy Krueger turns up and you can have a conversation with him before he rips your guts out. Yeah. You can talk to Freddy for a little while, you know.
He gives you that courtesy.
Yeah. Jason ain't gonna hang around. He'll walk out and go, alright mate, wallop, there goes your head. Oh, you're fucked. You know, at least with Freddy, he's like, alright mate, you're having a really bad dream. I'm gonna gut you in a minute. You know, and as long as your dog bites your arm or someone sets your arm on fire or something, you'll wake up. And you go, oh, I got away with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Leatherface, you can confuse Leatherface. You know, you go, oh no, and they go, what? And you go, yeah, don't leave me alone for a minute. Like, whereas Jason's just like, no mate, you're dead. Wallop. You can confuse Jason actually if you pretend to be his mum. You can confuse him. But yeah, that's what makes Jason so scary though, is the fact that he don't give a shit and he is an emotionless killing machine, really.
Yeah.
And
that was another bad remake. Sorry, mate. That was another bad remake. Was Friday the 13th when they remade that? That was really shit as well.
Have I seen that?
I don't know, mate. But don't watch it. It's fucking shit.
I probably have seen it, and I probably just erased it from my memory. But I do that with a lot of films.
Yeah.
I know. See, I thought they'd done well. I know, like you say, you watch Friday the 13th. You watch the first one. Obviously, it's got a different ending on it to the following, like, 9 films. But obviously, from number 2 up to about number 7, 6 or 7, they're all the same. And even when you get to 6 or 7, they're in a slightly different setting and that, but they're still very similar. But I still think the Friday the 13th series, all the way up to Jason Goes to Space or something, were alright. You know, they were done alright. And then you had Freddy versus Jason, which was pretty good. You know, and that was keyed up for a sequel. I don't know why the sequel never happened to that, because obviously Freddy was still alive at the end of it.
Yeah,
so
that's one sequel I've wanted to see, man.
You know, it's like, yeah, alright. they need a rematch now. But obviously, if you give him the rematch, they need a rubber match to finish the series.
Yeah.
So, yeah, alright, just leave it at 1. But it could be done. Could be still done. Who was behind that? Was Wes Craven behind that at all? I can't remember myself now.
Don't think so.
No, and that's another thing, alright. You've had some Nightmare on Elm Street films that were done without Wes Craven, but it's the ones that were done with him that are the best ones. You know? It's like the first one and the third one, hands down, are my 2 favourites. Now, the second one had some good stuff in it, but I thought it had a shit ending on it. Didn't like the ending on the second one. The fourth and fifth ones were alright. They were good, but they were a bit nuts. So the fifth one was nuts. Number 6 was alright, again. Wasn't the same as the originals, but it wasn't bad. Number 6. And then New Nightmare I don't really include with the original series. I see that as a standalone, you know. Another one that they've made for a TV show is Scream, which is alright, but I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I think they've slightly improved on the original story from the Scream movie, but to me it was like a slasher version of Pretty Little Liars or something. You've got the main guy blackmailing them and killing people, and you know, texting them, and just everything that's in Pretty Little Liars. But it was, I don't know, it was way too predictable, the Scream TV series. I mean, I called it from about the 3rd episode who the bad guy was, who was going to be unmasked at the end. And I was right. There was loads of other stuff that went on for it. It was very predictable. And the way the storyline did seem like it was ripped straight out of Pretty Little Liars. And they even referenced Pretty Little Liars at one point during the series. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it was alright, but I don't know if it needed to be done.
To avoid a remake, I suppose.
That's it though. What would have been worse, remaking the Scream films or doing that TV series? You know, the TV series was alright. It was alright, and if you've never watched Pretty Little Liars, then you're probably gonna be alright with the Scream series.
Right, well that's 2 TV shows that I haven't watched that you spoke about, so let's talk about one that we've both watched, and that's Daredevil. How good is Daredevil?
Yeah, Daredevil as a TV series, as opposed to the Ben Affleck movie, yeah, it kicks the shit out of the Ben Affleck movie, it really does. Daredevil...
It does.
Go on.
It's again, like, the acting... Like, it takes a while to build. Like, obviously the acting's good from the start, but to make you care about the characters, it's not done over a course of an episode. It takes almost until the last few episodes you really care about the characters and the relationships that they've formed. And the villain in Daredevil was a brilliant villain, very sort of calm, related. But, oh man, without saying too much, it's definitely a must-watch, Daredevil, the TV show, absolutely. And the second one's coming out soon. I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, but that boss, he is that guy. He's that Rumpelstiltskin. He's that Norman Bates. He's, you know, what we was saying. There's a character there that makes you go, no, this is why I'm watching it, like, sort of thing. This is he's the one that brings you in, you know. And makes you go, right, yeah. It's like you haven't seen that either, but The Fringe. Yeah, there's the old guy, Walter. Now, if he hadn't have been what he was, I don't think I would have watched The Fringe all the way through. But he kept you in, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, he's definitely that villain. Fisk, wasn't it? Wilson Fisk.
Yeah. Brilliant actor.
He is, and that character is amazing. And I think that Daredevil show is really, really good. I mean, it helps to bury that Daredevil movie.
Yeah, well, that wasn't a terrible film, though. That was all right for what it was.
Yeah,
obviously the TV show knocks the absolute shit out of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you compare the two because they're based on the same character. Yeah, it does. It completely knocks the crap out of the movie, but for its time, it was all right.
It was alright. It's not as bad as like it gets the stick for. That Affleck film it was alright, but I don't know. It's definitely, the TV series is good to just make, you know, give Daredevil a bit more credibility or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it needed to be done. I'm glad they didn't do a film of it. I'm glad it's a TV show.
So, like, we're banging on about remakes, it seems, you know, but that seems to be the majority of what movies are nowadays. They're just remakes or rehashes, or they've taken a film and made a slightly different version of it. Because, like, Hollywood's fucked, because, like I say, everything's been done, and it is very hard to do something new. You know, like, I watched that Heartbreak Kid last night, and I like Ben Stiller, but Ben Stiller, he's the same fucking character in 99% of his films. I think you got Zoolander, he's a bit different, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, absolutely.
Essentially, Ben Stiller is change the location, change the characters, but the film's the same.
No, what, the film? You mean the character's the same?
The characters, yeah, but... Eh?
You play the same character in every film. The film's
yeah,
different.
But it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, the character and his storyline is like very similar because of the character, you know, and it's always that same thing. It's like Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
He's good, but it's the same film. It's always the same film. But,
yeah.
Alright, the film is different, but the character's the same, and the story that the character tells is the same, more or less. Just the details change. You know? It's like, it's good, but they sell, they make money, people watch it, I watch them. Adam Sandler makes a new film, I know it's going to be the same as the last one, but I watch it anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I like him, he's funny, it's good. But it's hard, mate. They've done everything, and Hollywood's just in trouble, and that's why all they're doing is just remaking stuff, and it's too, like, I don't know, Hollywood as well. It's not done for the movies; it's done for the money. You know, a lot of the big time things. I mean, look at like Terminator, Salvation. That was done for the money. Flopped like an arsehole, really, that film. You know? Flopped like an old man's arsehole, didn't it?
For good reason.
In terms of what it should done. The Total Recall, I haven't even watched it, and it hurts to even acknowledge that it exists. Yeah? It doesn't exist in my world. That I will never look at it. I will never even look at it. That Total Recall remake. I've heard it is a complete load of shit, and that flopped like an old man's ass.
You don't even need to hear it's a complete pile of shit. Without Arnold Schwarzenegger involved, it's gonna be wank.
Yeah. Total Recall without Arnold ain't Total Recall.
And Terminator Salvation is not a Terminator without... How the fuck can you make a Terminator film without Arnold Schwarzenegger in it?
Yeah.
Stupid bastards.
They did have a CGI
Oh,
Arnold in it for like 5 seconds.
The only good thing... That's the only good thing about that... And that doesn't make a film for me, by the way. But the only good thing about Salvation was the special effects. That's all I would give that film. But the story, and even Christian Bale couldn't save that film. He's like one of my favourite actors, and
Yeah.
even he didn't save that film.
No. Christian Bale hands down is like one of my top dudes from like last 10-20 years. But since he started doing the mainstream films, they haven't been as good as his older stuff, you know?
No,
And you can't knock the geezer for it. He's doing what he's paid to do, you know? And that's his job. Don't matter how well he tries to portray the character or whatever. If the film sucks, it sucks. And that's the bottom line of it, you know? It's like... they're doing the Batman versus Superman thing, right? But I think that was because the third Batman film with Christian Bale was pretty terrible, really, and I think that kind of killed that. Like, that was the end of Christian Bale himself. Probably thought, yeah, I don't want to do that again, you know.
Well, it's the same as other actors, mate, that don't want to be remembered for that role.
Yeah, that's it. Don't want to be...
Other things... No, that's it. He wants to be remembered for Christian Bale, not for Batman.
Yeah, it's going back to the Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger. That's why he wanted to do different things. Why he probably didn't want to do another Freddy film.
Yeah, and I'm sure Christian Bale probably got offered that role in
Batman
vs Superman, and maybe got offered more money than the first 3 films.
Yeah.
He might have just gone, oh, fuck that, man, seriously. It went from pretty good film, alright film, what a load of shit, with the Batman trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, it was fucking... The Dark Knight is considered the best out of the 3, and Heath Ledger's quality, fucking amazing actor, and an amazing performance, but it was still not that great, really, that film. I don't think it was alright,
but that's what does it. Is Heath Ledger's performance and the fact that he obviously killed himself. Is everyone's going, oh yeah, bam, and now that's what makes that film iconic. And it's not the film, it's him.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's Heath Ledger's performance and the fact that he died shortly after. And that's a reason, that is the reason why the third film sucked balls, because Heath Ledger had died. And there was no way they was going to replace Heath Ledger in that short amount of time.
Yeah. But then you got Tom Hardy, yeah? Awesome actor. And they stick him in a fucking mask and dub all these lines anyway. And they just... They didn't take advantage of what they could have done out of that actor. That main character could have had so much more to him. You know? It's like...
No, that was done really badly. That part of things. The whole film was shit.
The
whole film was fucking wank. And when Bane... Spoiler alert. When Bane finally got killed, it was done in such a weak ass way. It was fucking... It was like, oh, there he is. Oh, he's dead. Oh, that's the end of Bane. What? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
The fight scenes were shit.
Yeah, but just the way they killed Bane off was just done so weak.
Yeah.
Just like he was nothing, like it was fuck all, like it was just like a fucking spider someone would squash. It was just pathetic.
When they built him up early doors, where he had like, where he done the backbreaker on Batman and basically killed him in like a really, really weak ass fight. And then, like, so it was like...
So badly, Batman had to have time off.
Yeah.
To recuperate, like.
That's it.
How much he beat him up.
So they built him up as a fucking monster, It's like it's a bit like a WWE storyline. You know, they go, oh, we'll build this geezer up, and then we'll put him in there with Triple H, and he gets squashed. They want to do a Batman versus Superman film. Yeah, they need a new Batman. Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't know. How good was he as Daredevil?
It's a very strange choice. Very strange choice.
Yeah.
I can't see it really working, to be fair. But then I can't see it. Can't see it. Ben Affleck.
I can't see it, but what I would say is this. Would you ever pick Michael Keaton for Batman?
Well, to be completely honest, those were the first Batman films I ever watched, so I didn't really know any different about
Yeah.
And I didn't really see him in anything before that.
Beetlejuice?
To be fair to the bloke, he pulled it off. He was very good in them Batman films, and they are better than the Christopher Nolan ones.
Yeah. Them first two with Michael Keaton in are the two best Batman films of all time.
Yeah.
Hands down. And Michael Keaton is the best Batman, I think. I like to say Christian Bale, hands down, is like top 3, 4, 5 actors, whatever. I don't know. I'd struggle, you know. I like Tom Hanks, Bill Murray, it's Christian Bale and a few others, but like Christian Bale's right up there as the guy that if you put his name on something, I'm likely to watch it, you know.
Yeah.
But I still think Michael Keaton was a better Batman.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, mate, to be fair. The first Batman Begins, that was, even comparing that to them, the Batman and Batman Returns, it's still not as good as them, man. It isn't.
No. No, well, you had Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, you know.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah. You know, a lot of really talented people. And they as much as Batman made it what it was. You know, it's like going back to what we were saying about the TV shows and having that one person, or having that person that makes you go, yeah, that's why that's good. But with those Batman films, there was more than one person. You know, there was a few of them. Yeah. It's like definitely. Dark Knight Rises with Heath Ledger. He's the reason that film's good. You know?
Yeah, it's just called The Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises was the third one.
Alright, Dark Knight, yeah.
But obviously, yeah. But yeah, that is it. That is the only reason that film is good. Like, it didn't need Two-Face. It didn't need, you know what I mean? It needed just Heath Ledger, Batman. Boom, that's all you need. Them two characters have got a fuck ton of history together. Why the fuck do you need to bring in another dude who's shit, playing a character badly?
Yeah, and you had Scarecrow as well in that, didn't you?
In the first one, yeah. Oh, and he was in the second one as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't really need that. Didn't really need him in the second one.
He was the fall guy in the second one though, weren't he? When he like Joker set him up or something. I can't honestly remember now.
He didn't last as long as he did in the first film.
No. So, and the Spider-Man series, that's another one that's being remade a lot. Like they've done, yeah. You know, they've done the ones with what's his name? The original geezer. Tobey Maguire.
That's the one.
Yeah. They done them, then they remade them again with the new guy, and I think those were better. Those films.
Seen the second one?
I haven't seen the second one of it. No, I haven't. But well, I'll say it was better. I wasn't a big fan of the storyline with the lizard. You know, but then that is what Spider-Man is. It's no one's really bad. They're all just misunderstood. Yeah. And
Yeah.
But I liked the newer Spider, like the Amazing Spider-Man is called, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, so did I. I enjoyed that one as well. But with the original one with Tobey Maguire, had William Dafoe as the Green Hornet.
Yeah.
And man, that guy nailed that role and made, again, like I was saying with actors that pull you in, don't let go, so you're going to watch me act my ass off this film. And he did. He absolutely fucking nailed that role in that film.
Yeah, he was the guy that made that film what it was.
Absolutely.
And obviously you got Kirsten Dunst in it, who's always good to look at.
Yeah, she is. Can't go wrong.
I prefer
than that newer bird anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say I prefer Kirsten Dunst to the bird in the newer Spider-Man films, but they're doing it again, aren't they? They're going to relaunch the Spider-Man trilogy again or whatever. They're starting again with it.
Yep. And like they put it down to the second one not doing as well. Maybe it's because you keep fucking remaking them. You know, it might not be because it was a bad film, but it's because people have only watched it 6-7 years ago, or whenever the last, the Spider-Man 3 film was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How many times can people watch the same fucking film that's about the same fucking thing?
That's it. How many times can you watch him get bitten by a spider and learn how to use his powers, and watch his uncle get killed? And it's the same fucking story that you've seen. So fuck that off and just take it from where he's already Spider-Man, and some shit's going down. You know, you don't need that fucking backstory anymore.
No, it's been done twice now. So if you want to replace the actor so it's for someone younger, because obviously he's like a high school student, then do that. Don't fucking remake the film. That's stupid.
Yeah, but
obviously make money, but and that's because people will go and watch it regardless of whether they've seen the first 3 films and the last 2 films, or whether they haven't. They'll still go and watch it because that's what people do. Yeah,
they will. People see a name on something and they go and watch it. It's general public. That's what makes money. That's why a lot of things are a bit dumbed down and a bit stupid, because they're done for the general public. They're done for the people the mindless masses that just follow what they're supposed to follow. You know?
Yeah.
It's with them Spider-Man films, I think that's been done. Give it a break. But at the end of the day, it's like it goes straight back to that. It's for the mainstream. It's for the mindless masses. It's for the kids. Because you make a Spider-Man film, you sell a shitload of Spider-Man merchandise, and you make a lot of money. And that's why that's done. That's why you've got Iron Man 1, 2 and 3, and I think the first and second Iron Man's alright. The third one is a load of wank. But that's why they're done. That's why the Incredible Hulk was done twice. 2 different versions of it. That's why you got Avengers Assemble and the Green Lantern and Thor and Captain America. They're done to make money.
Yeah, of course they are. But I mean, Iron Man is definitely one of the better superhero films I've seen in a while. That and the Amazing Spider-Man probably 2 of my, in the last sort of 5 to 10 years, they're 2 of my favourites.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that Man of Steel I thought was complete load wank. I didn't like that at all. Man of Steel. And that is the Superman we're going to get in the Batman vs Superman film. So that, right off the bat there, I've got very little interest in that Batman vs Superman film. Just based off the fact that it's going to be that Superman. And if it's the same people that made that Superman film, it's going to be wank, because that Superman film was wank.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty bad. I mean, when I was watching it, I enjoyed certain bits, and I kind of got a little bit lost, you know. But sort of you recollect, don't you? You think like, well, that bit wasn't that good. That bit didn't make sense. Russell Crowe's in it, for fuck's sake. He don't add anything to a film.
No.
And it was, and it's like with the original Superman films. That's the thing. Christopher Reeve, another really good actor. When he was Clark Kent, he was nerdy. He was slightly timid. He was like scared of things. A real human being, you know.
Yeah.
And then as Superman, he's like, yeah, don't fuck with me, I'll kill you. Do you know what I mean? And that's what made that film, you know, really good. And Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando, you know, all great actors that again suck you in and don't really let go. And Man of Steel didn't really have that in the slightest. It was just like, yeah, there's a bunch of special effects and there's Superman who's not a really good actor, he just looks the part.
Yeah, and it's a shit fucking storyline as well.
Yeah.
And not,
yeah, it was.
It's like, one of the things that got me, Russell Crowe, he's meant to be a hologram, yet he could physically touch things, right? Have they never seen Red Dwarf? A hologram, unless it has a hard light drive, can't fucking touch things. And he didn't have a hard light drive, because that's not how they fucking put it over in the film. And the other thing about it was when his dad was standing in the tornado, and he went, "Oh, leave me here to die, don't tell anyone you're Superman." He went, "Alright, you can die," and then 5 minutes later he told everyone he was Superman anyway. So it's like, what the fuck? He just let his old man die.
You wouldn't do it, would you?
No, I'd go fuck that.
Not. It's your dad, for fuck's sake.
My old man was in a tornado, and it's like, right, I either save him, or everyone finds out I'm an alien. Well, fuck it, I'm an alien. I'd go and get him. I don't fucking leave him there. A stupid load of shit.
Anyway? What are they gonna do to Superman? I'm Superman. What are you gonna do? Honestly, I'm here to fucking help you. Don't fuck with me. I'll kill you. Obviously, he doesn't do that, but like, if he really wanted to, he could.
Yeah.
You know, he could destroy Earth if he really wanted to. But
yeah, of course he could. He could just pick it up and throw it into the sun.
Or just fly through it.
Yeah.
Fly through the middle of it. That'd be more entertaining.
Yeah, it's silly. That entire Man of Steel film, complete load of wank, and that's what we've got is Man of Steel versus Ben Affleck, and it's not very appealing to me.
No.
Well, this podcast could go on a lot longer. We really have got so much we could keep on saying about movies, remakes. I mean, we've barely scratched the surface, but we've been talking a fair old while. So, we're going to call it a day there. We'd like you to leave some comments, and we will reply to your comments in the next podcast. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Keep coming back for the next PSDovito podcast, where we will be talking about anything from movies to music to wrestling to religion to politics to culture. We don't know what we'll be doing, but please come back for the next PSDovito podcast.